Pirate fan. You got to have more hope than that.
Now, back to Steiny and Guru on 95.7 The Game.
All righty, on the line right now is Audacy NFL insider Ross Tucker. Insider calls are brought to you by Old Spice. Men have skin, too. It is the Boxer and Gerson guest line. What's up, Ross? How you doing, man?
Ross.
I am doing fantastic. I hope you guys are doing great. Steiny, great article in the local paper, man. I loved it.
Oh, thank you.
What article?
Thank you very much. I'll tell you later.
Wow, Ross, you got to tell us what article.
Oh, he got a whole feature about Steiny still loves talking sports and the Reading, with the main Reading beat writer.
Oh, my goodness. I love Ross. Thank you, Ross. Wow.
Thank you, Ross. I appreciate that.
I don't think Steiny, Guru, I don't know if he mentioned you at all.
I'm a tend to bet my name wasn't in there, Ross.
Unfortunately, they did have to put the show name in one time, but I told them not to do it till the end. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, listen, let me ask you this first, because all season long, from the start of it, it's 49ers, Eagles, Cowboys. They were a jumble, and then the 49ers. What? Let's just start with the Eagles. What happened?
Yeah, honestly, I do a minute social media thing every morning called the Ross Report, talking about the Eagles, and that was my report this morning, what happened. And the answer is, guys, I have no idea.
Man.
The only thing I do know is that everything changed after the Niners game. If you think about it, going into that game, not only were they 10-1, but I think the 4 games before that, I might be off here, but I think the 4 games before that, they had beaten the Dolphins, the Cowboys, the Chiefs, and the Bills. So the Eagles were 10-1, and they had 4 really impressive wins in a row.
Yep.
And what struck me about the Niners game, if you guys remember, the Eagles actually dominated the first quarter. The Niners had 2 3-and-outs.
Yeah.
The Eagles controlled the ball and went all the way up and down the field, but they had to settle for 2 field goals. And then whatever the final score was, 44-6 or whatever crazy score was. But I don't know, man. They were not the same team after that. It was like the 49ers stole their soul. I don't know how else to describe it. I don't know if they lost confidence or what, and they played Dallas the next week. And I thought against the Niners they had just run out of gas. It was a tough stretch. They had played Buffalo in overtime the week before. The Niners were coming off, extra time after Thanksgiving or whatever. So I thought, okay. But they kind of never got their groove back. They got beat down by the Cowboys the next week, then they lost a close one to Seattle. The only game they won after that was Tommy DeVito on Christmas against the Giants. I don't know. I think I used the expression that they lost their stinger. They objectively were not a well-coached team down the stretch. Defensively, they were a mess. Offensively, they couldn't pick up the blitz. It was absolutely stunning because I really thought Eagles, Cowboys, and Niners clearly the 3 best teams, and also really believed that they would that it'd probably be the Eagles and the Niners in the NFC Championship game again, and I was looking forward to it.
Yeah, so was I, Ross. I got to tell you this. I think I told you, I root for Dallas. I'm a Cowboy fan, man, and I still will never forget this game for the rest of my life against the Packers. And I'm having problems processing the Packers doing or having the same success because I believe that was a monumental, complete failure from Dan Quinn to McCarthy to Dak, that there's no way. And Green Bay's a good story. I love, but you're not going to come here Saturday and I believe have success on the ground, or better yet, stopping this Niner offense. Am I wrong to look at it that way?
Yeah, so first of all, because a lot of people are talking about which collapse is worse, the Cowboys or the Eagles. The answer is definitely the Eagles.
Oh.
The Cowboys, anything can happen in a one-game scenario, right? You said it. Dan Quinn, I had Greg Cosell on the Ross Tucker Football Podcast this morning, the NFL Films legend, and he said that Dan Quinn basically totally changed the Cowboys defense for this game.
He did.
They were a single high, middle of the field safety, man-to-man team almost the whole year, and he decided that Gilmore hadn't been quite as good, and Deron Bland isn't great in man-to-man coverage. He kind of guesses a lot. So they basically went from playing the most single high, middle of field safety, man-to-man coverage of any team all year, and they went away from it. And they got torched, and they had communication issues and stuff. So I bring it up just to say, like, it was a really bad loss for the Cowboys. It was terrible. We know all that, right? But anything can happen in a one-game scenario. I mean, I was surprised the Texans destroyed the Browns like that. I mean, anything can happen in these one-game situations. The Eagles was like a 2-month thing.
Yeah,
I mean, they couldn't fix it. I will say the Packers are so young that it's like they don't know any better. They're young, they're talented, they're fresh. Love is a star. And so that gives them a chance. But, no, I don't think the Niners will make the same mistake. I don't think – I mean, the three key people for the Cowboys being – well, I'll say four. I'll say Dak, Dan Quinn, Mike McCarthy, and Micah Parsons.
No, there you go.
All had bad games at the same time.
Wow.
I mean, it's kind of remarkable. I don't think that's going to happen to the Niners. You know, I think they are refreshed, ready to go. And I'd like to think if you're the Niners, and maybe it doesn't make a difference, but I'd like to think, man, now they should really be licking their chops, right? About the possibilities for them. You know, the NFC looks like it would be a heck of a lot easier for them now.
Yeah, for sure. Ross Tucker joining us on 95.7 The Game. He's our Audacy NFL insider. You can hear him also on the Ross Tucker podcast. Let me ask you this. You know how we watch every 49er game out here, but we don't watch everybody else. What's the biggest difference between the Packers team that started 3-6 and the Packers team that's won 7 of 9?
Well, when they were 3-6, they're so young, guys. I mean, they've got, all of their – I've never seen anything like it. All of their receivers and tight ends are in their first or second year. It's probably too late now, but if you're into buying stock, you should have bought stock in the Packers because they're going up the next few years. So I think what happened is earlier in the year, they had guys making rookie mistakes or young mistakes. They had guys not necessarily always on the same page with Jordan Love because of the youth and inexperience. They were not good on defense. They're still not great on defense, although they now have had back-to-back good games against the Bears and the Cowboys on that side of the ball. But the biggest thing I think is, Jordan Love has kind of settled in. He made his mistakes the first half of the year. They all made their mistakes, really, the first half of the year, and they've been much better since then.
Ross, you played this game, and Steiny and I were batting this around earlier, but Packers' Devontae Wyatt, he made some comments about, getting pressure onto Brock Purdy. He's always throwing off, or it's behind them, or it's short or overthrown, and maybe they could get a turnover. I mean, I know the Cinderella story is Green Bay, but if you're a Packer teammate, do you like this? Or do you think if you're Brock Purdy, you're like, who? And that'll just add fuel to the fire for the Niners to go out and kick their ass more.
Yeah, you do not do this if you're Deontay White. You just do not do it. You don't do anything like this. It's insane to me that they would ever do. And by the way, Brock Purdy's awesome. He's been awesome since he first started. If the Niners win the Super Bowl, which is very possible, that will be my biggest that will be the thing I'm happiest for. I'll be happy for my guy Juszczyk. I'll be happy for some other guys on the team I know. I'll be really happy that people will have to just acknowledge that Purdy is good and stop saying it's the system. Because, by the way, if that's what we're going to say, well, then let's say that for every quarterback that's in a system like it. So Tua's only good because Mike McDaniel. Stafford's only good for Sean McVay. C.J. Stroud's only good because of Bobby Slowick. And even though Johnson's not from that tree, the Lions remind me a lot of a Shanahan-type offense. So Jared Goff's only good because of Ben Johnson, right? I mean, what are we doing here? It's obviously not just because of that. Did you see Darnold play in the last game? Did you see that what happened when Trey Lance was out there? The system absolutely helps. But look, it's like this, right? Like they have a great orchestra. You still need the maestro. You still need the guy that can get everybody, on the same page and have it running smoothly. Brock Purdy is the maestro.
Ross Tucker joining us on 95.7 The Game. Let me ask you about motivation in the NFL, and maybe rah-rah. How many head coaches, how much time do they spend on wondering is it a coach's job to motivate an NFL player, or does a coach assume that an NFL player will motivate himself and it's up to him to simply adhere to a game plan?
That's a great question. And I would say the answer is both, or yes to both. In my opinion, as a former player, it's a player's job to make sure they are prepared, they are ready to go, they are motivated. This is professional football. You're getting paid. You should be very motivated because you're trying to provide financial security for your family. I mean, if that doesn't motivate you, then I don't know how you get motivated, right? However, I will say I have seen scenarios, I've seen situations where some coaches are better than others. Do they have to, Steiny? Is it their job? No. Does it help if they're good at it? Absolutely. My rookie year, Marty Schottenheimer, I mean, I can't tell you how many speeches he gave, or even the start of training camp, where the hair on the back of my neck would stand up, and I would have headbutted any dude in that room as he was talking, okay? The next year, we had Steve Spurrier, and Spurrier started training camp with the opening speech saying, man, I went to 12 of these here training camps when I was a player, and, I don't remember one good thing we ever got out of it, but Mr. Snyder wants us to be here, so let's try to get something done. It was the opposite. It was the anti-motivation. It was like losing your stinger.
Ross, let me ask you this. I love it, man. I'm so confident in saying the Niners are going to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl, but I'm being selfish. I want a rematch only because Baltimore did something on Christmas I didn't think they were going to do as I sat down and watched that game. I want Baltimore, San Francisco in the Super Bowl in Vegas, but then I think of Josh Allen. I think of Patrick Mahomes. So I'm asking you, do you think Baltimore is better than those two teams?
I do think Baltimore is better than Kansas City and Buffalo. I do, but I'll believe the Chiefs aren't in it when I see it. Now, I don't think the Chiefs are going to go to Buffalo and win, and then go to Baltimore and win. That would be really, really impressive, especially since Mahomes has never had to play a road playoff game. But it's unbelievable, guys. I mean, the first year that Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, the worst year they've had together on offense, it's the best defense they've ever had. Number 2 in the league in scoring, number 2 in the league in yards per game allowed. And so that defense gives Mahomes and Andy Reid a chance to still win, even if they're not great. I wouldn't be surprised. In fact, I think they'll probably beat the Bills because the Bills are just so beat up.
Wow.
And the Bills have so much pressure on them to finally beat the Chiefs, to not lose in the divisional round at home again. I kind of like the Chiefs in that game.
Hey, Ross, thank you as always, man. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, buddy.
Hey, anytime I get a chance to talk with a documented superstar like you,
I'm going to find that article.
Pressure, Steiny.
Yeah.
Yeah, Guru will never get through the paywall. Thank you,
everybody
Ross.
would have known that the article was
never-
written about me, Ross. This guy comes in and doesn't even mention it.
Guru, reach out to me. I'll give you my login for the
Okay,
site.
there we go.
All right,
baby.
Ross.
All
Thanks a lot, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.